So what's going on, y'all? It's the boy Vincent, repping the boy Vincent Fitness, and the topic of today is going to be wise, you must first be a fool. Life's greatest teacher, in a sense, is basically learning your mistakes. Like, if you make a mistake, you will learn from said mistake. Now, let's keep it really simple, right? So let's look back for all my fellas out there let's say you fumbled a really fine girl before. Boy, that stings. That is the worst pain. We've all done it. Don't sit here and come on here act like, nah, not me, like you some super player. We've all been there before. We had some girl that was probably giving you some signals, or maybe you was too timid to make a move, especially when you was younger. And you can always look back and think like, damn, if I would have done that, it was so obvious, but I didn't do it. Maybe I was afraid. Maybe I was unsure of myself. But that failure, that you kept that in the back of your mind whenever you interacted with a woman that gave you them signs again in the future. And the only way that you would have that wisdom is by failing. Guys, you can watch hundreds, maybe even thousands of these, RP videos or these dating coaches on YouTube. But the only way you're going to really learn how to deal with women, you have to make them mistakes. You're going to have to make those mistakes. You're going to have to do certain things, or let's say they tell you, never validate a woman, that kind of stuff. It's going to take you finding a girl you really like or you're really attracted to, and you're like, oh man, F all that stuff them dudes are saying, I'm going to do it, whatever. And then you make that mistake, and then all of a sudden she's talking about she don't feel it no more, blah, 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 for you to learn never to do something like that again. Or even with the gym. Guys, I've been injury-free, knock on wood, in the gym. I've been working out, let's say, I think almost 10 years now, 9 years. And I've been injury-free for that entire time. And that's because I had made sure never to make these sort of mistakes of not warming up, for example, or not stretching. The only time I ever actually injured myself in the gym was a small injury. It was nothing too crazy, but it was my left shoulder, the left rotator cuff. And I remember I couldn't work out for like almost 2 months because of it. And why did that happen? Because I didn't warm up before I started working out. I got to the gym kind of late, and I'm like, oh, F it, let me rush today. So I started doing the shoulder press, and I could feel in my shoulder I was doing way too much weight, and I could feel after that workout that my shoulder felt funny. So that was the biggest lesson for me, was to never make that mistake again. Guys, I don't care if I'm late. I don't care if I'm kind of rushing. I always make sure to warm up and do warm-in sets before that first exercise, because that helps you to avoid injuring yourself. And that's the only way you're going to learn. You have to make the mistakes. You need to be a fool. And that's not just with making mistakes, it's with anything. So for example, we'll keep it with bodybuilding. If you want to really make sure that you will achieve what you want in the gym, you're going to have to go through a period of where you're doing things incorrect or you're not sure. Now, me, for example, I remember when I first started working, I remember somebody gave me the worst advice. They said whenever you're training back, you're supposed to squeeze the bar as hard as possible so you can activate your forearms and biceps to help, lift more weight. Guys, that's actually the worst thing you can do if you're training back. You want to have more of like a hook grip, or for my people out there, who shoot guns, it's almost like you're holding the gun with your finger not on the trigger. How you have your finger on the side of the pistol, like so. So that was the big mistake that I made. So in the beginning, whenever I was training back, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I'm getting this good pump in my arms, but at the same time, I'm not getting as good of a pump in my back. Because of that bad advice, but more specifically, me not really working out properly caused this. But I learned from that mistake, and I ended up not making that mistake in the future. Because, like I said earlier, man, you're going to have to be a fool. You're going to have to make certain mistakes in life, guys. You can't avoid it. As much as your parents don't want you to avoid it, as much as your friends want to, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, you're going to have to make those mistakes. Otherwise, you'll never really learn. Failure is life's greatest teacher. Losing is life's greatest teacher. Because there can be instances where you did everything correctly, you did everything the right way, but still you fail. But it is what it is. But in that moment, you understood, okay, I gave my 100% best, but somebody gave 101%, 102%. And guys, those are the things that you really got to understand, especially some of my younger guys who are watching these kind of videos. I don't have a huge following, but I do have some younger guys on here. Guys, the only way you're going to learn is by making mistakes. You're going to have to fail. I know it's not fun. You fumbled that baddie. There's one baddie I can remember from college that I fumbled. I never forget, never ever forget that one trick. We all have one. Or not even with work, another mistake that I've made, right? The biggest mistake you can make at work is talking about politics. Like, I remember when I was at my last job, they were asking me questions about politics, and I kind of let slip my views. I don't want to say my views on here, but you could tell they kind of were looking at me differently after that. And guys, that was a big mistake. When you're at work, don't tell them too much about yourself. These are not your friends. They're just your coworkers. You can be nice. You can talk about simple things, maybe get to know them a little bit on a personal level, but really guard your information, because there's some sick people out there, man. They'll try to use what you tell them against you. So you got to be real careful out there, guys. And I learned that personally from my own mistake. That's why, bro, when I be at the job, y'all gossiping around me, I'm moving out the way. I'm going somewhere else, man, because that's just something you need to avoid, guys. That was a mistake that I've learned from working at these jobs. You never tell people too much. If they're asking you certain questions, just ask them why you want to know that. And usually they'll be all defensive because they're trying to pry for information. Because there's people out there, man, their lives are so boring, or they don't have much going on in life. So their whole destiny is to basically run around, focus on what other people are doing. So, make sure to kind of guard your information like that. So as we usually say here, guys, make sure to control the negative, focus on the positive. Make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. It's your boy Navoy, repping Navoy Vincent Fitness. I'm out.